My name is Matthias. I'm a founder and CEO of Billie. And for the next 10 minutes, I'll walk you through one of the biggest opportunities in payments. 3 weeks ago, we all have witnessed one of the biggest shopping events in consumer history, and that was Black Week 2023. And during this time, consumers have spent $38 billion on consumer goods and services, and Stripe has processed 27,000 transactions per second, and that's a new record for Stripe. And the most sought-after payment method in the consumer space was buy now, pay later, which increased 42% year over year. But while all of these numbers are very impressive, there is another market which is even more exciting, and where many of the platforms, the payment service providers, the shopping platforms, and the payment methods are slowly starting to turn towards. And this market is even bigger than the consumer commerce market, is even faster growing, and has a lot less competition. And I borrowed this one from one of the biggest shopping platforms on the planet, that's Shopify, and they termed B2B the biggest commerce opportunity of 2024. And not just is the B2B commerce market 3 times the size of the consumer market, but it's also a lot faster growing. And I brought you some of the numbers here. These are numbers from the German market, but you can apply them across the globe. What you can see here is that B2B commerce has grown 9-fold over the last 11 years, and this translates into a 22% compound annualized growth rate year after year after year. And a lot of this growth is due to many of the categories that have already shifted online in the consumer space are now starting to shift online, finally also for B2B commerce. And what you also can see is, if you're focusing on the last 3 years up here, the post-COVID years, 21 to 23, that the growth in B2B commerce has even accelerated. And that's due to us, all of us sitting at home during the COVID years. There was no possibility of in-person shopping, which is usually one of the major sales channels of B2B sellers. And when this sales channel didn't work, many of the B2B platforms are starting to move online and have invested into digital distribution channels, which also accelerated the growth in B2B commerce even more over the last 3 years. And what do all of these B2B buyers need when they want to shop online? It's very clear. They need payment methods. And that is where things become really interesting when you're looking at the B2C market, the consumer market, versus the B2B market. When we're looking at the consumer market, what you see is that we have so many different payment methods. You have credit cards, you have PayPal, you have Klarna, you have Affirm, Afterpay, WeChat Pay, Alipay, Amazon Pay. You have all these different payment methods. In every geography, you have at least half a dozen payment methods to choose from as a consumer. But now when we look over to the B2B space, none of this is true. The only global payment scheme you have as a B2B platform is credit cards. And credit cards have been around since the 1950s, so it's a 70-year-old payment scheme that is the only global payment scheme for B2B e-commerce. So none of the innovation that has happened on the B2C side made it over to the B2B side. And that is exactly what we are about to change at Billie. At Billie, we are developing a global B2B e-commerce payment scheme, and we're starting out with the most important, the most sought-after payment methods, how business buyers want to pay, and this is invoice-based payment. That's buy now, pay later for the B2B space. And when developing such a solution, what's very important is that such a solution looks and feels very much the same way as the procurement managers and the buyers on the B2B side are used to from their personal lives. All of them are used to PayPal. All of them are used to a 2-click Klarna checkout, very smooth, very seamless. So even though a B2B transaction is more complex, because you're dealing with procurement managers, is bigger, B2B transactions usually are about 5 to 10 times the size of a consumer transaction, and is more difficult in terms of risk management because you're scoring companies and different entities, not just the consumer. Even though you have all this complexity, it should look and feel from the consumer side a lot like what you're used to from a PayPal, from a Klarna. Very smooth checkout, very smooth consumer experience. And when bringing this solution to market, we're not doing it alone. At Billie, we've partnered with some of the most powerful payment networks on the planet. And these are namely Klarna, these are Adyen, these are Molly, and a couple of more. And with Klarna, for example, we have a very deep partnership and very deep integration so that Billie can be accessed by Klarna merchants, merchants that have Klarna integrated without any further integration. Klarna can deliver the Billie payment method to a merchant that needs a B2B payment method in their checkout without any integration. So all these 500,000 merchants are accessible to us when we come to these geographies. And that's a globally exclusive partnership for us. I think Klarna has never integrated with a company as deeply as they did with Billie. And the same is true for Adyen and for Molly. Molly is a Dutch payment provider, very fast growing across Europe. And Adyen is a 40 billion NASDAQ listed company, as most of you will know. And at all of these platforms, Billie is the only B2B buy now, pay later payment method. So we can help all of the merchants that are contracting with Molly or with Klarna or with Adyen. And how it looks like when such partnerships are performing, that's what I brought you here on this slide. It took us quarter after quarter and year after year to build the solution, to build up the partnerships, to get the go-to-market right. But over the last 12 months, this is November to November, the number of active merchants that are using Billie has grown 27-fold. 27-fold. Yeah? I'm in the industry for more than 10 years now, and I've rarely seen a hockey stick playing out like this. And this makes us the biggest B2B payment provider, at least in Europe. And when we're looking a little bit deeper into our portfolio, I brought you some of the logos here. What you'll see is that the merchants using Billie, they're coming from all the different verticals. They're coming from electronics, from home and garden, from the building industry and construction, from automotive, from renewable energy, from all the different verticals. Wherever businesses are buying, Billie can be relevant, and Billie can help to manage the buyer-seller relationship and provide a very smooth checkout experience, which usually increases the average basket size, the checkout conversion, and also the customer retention. And many people, when they look at Billie, they see us as a checkout payment method, which is right, because usually we're sitting in the checkout right next to payment methods like credit cards. But online checkout is usually only one of the channels that our B2B sellers are using. They're using so many more channels. Checkout is number one. That's where you find us. But number two is usually teleorders. Look, when I'm buying new laptops for my new joiners in January, what we usually do is we pick up the phone, call our electronic supplier, and just order 20 new MacBooks. So that's a teleorder. And many of our customers are using teleorders as one of their major distribution channels. Then there's email and fax orders. You wouldn't believe how many companies are still ordering via fax, so it would also be great to have this channel being processed by us. And fourth is offline point of sale in a brick and mortar store. Also here, we need to be present at every single customer interaction, be it online, be it offline. And that is why we're building Billie as a holistic B2B payment solution that is covering all the different channels of our customers. And by doing so, what we're essentially doing is, for the first time in many decades, we're finally bringing innovation into the B2B payment sector. And by doing so, we're building a global B2B payment scheme. Thank you.